Doug MPA back with another video. So guys, we all know that Alabama Supreme Court ruling where they said that an embryo is a person. It that happened earlier this year is 2024. Well, it's going to open up the floodgates for stuff like this. In Kentucky is trying to pass a law that'll put a man on child support at the point of conception. That's right, guys. You'll be put on the hook for child support from the day the child is conceived. And what would be the problem with that? You're going to have more women just pointing out the best candidate and saying he's the father. The only way to combat how irresponsible women will be with this law is to do state mandated paternity tests, but that's never going to happen, guys. You're going to have to weave, if you're not the father, you're going to have to weave through the court system and pay child support from the point of conception along the way. This is crazy town. And that Alabama Supreme Court ruling just opened up the floodgates. You're going to see these type of crazy laws coming up in all sorts of red states. So guys, be careful. We're going to get into this news story. Before I do that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It shows you support me and what I'm doing over here. And let's get into this, okay?
Lawmakers advance a bill to make child support payments a requirement before birth. This is Wave News at 11. I'm John Bull. Senate Bill 110 still votes away from becoming law, but Wave News reporter Noel Friel took a closer look at what this bill would do.
This bill would allow child support to be collected beginning from the moment of conception. Supporters of the bill argue it will help women in need of financial support during pregnancy, while critics see it as a way for pro-life lawmakers to push legislation giving a fetus the same rights as a person.
See, the pro-choice people are right, and the pro-life people, I guarantee you, she's right. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out a way, just like in Alabama, to classify an unborn child as a person. Now, me, Doug MPA, I'm pro-choice, man. I think that a woman should be able to get rid of it. And also, I think that a man should be able to walk up to the courthouse and say, look, I don't want to be a father, and should be able to give up his rights and financial responsibility. That would be a perfect world. A woman being able to delete, get rid of the baby, and a man being able to walk away from his financial responsibility. But that's never going to happen. Now is it?
Senate Bill 110 would allow women to seek child support payments to cover the costs of pregnancy after a child is born. The mother would have up to 1 year after the birth to ask for the child support order.
That child is a human life, and the support obligation begins as soon as that life begins. And I think we ought to be able to go after that.
Republicans.
So she said that the woman would have a year to file child support, and it would go back to the day of conception. Guys, this is crazy town. And I'm telling you, these traditional conservatives, they're not for you guys. They're not. Traditional conservatives in 2024, they just want guys to just take L's. Because it's your duty to just take L's, guys. Get married and get rung through the ringer in the divorce court, in paternity court. Become a pack mule for some woman who's going to not sleep with you, who's going to tear you down emotionally, mentally. Just do it, because that's what TradCons are saying in 2024. Watch out for them, guys.
Senator Whitney Westerfield introduced the bill. He's pro-life and says that belief is what inspired him to introduce the legislation in Kentucky.
Even if you didn't believe life begins at conception, I don't think anybody can reasonably dispute that there are costs involved in being pregnant from the moment of conception.
See? What's that sound like? It sounds like a feminist talking point, doesn't it? Where there's costs involved with a woman being pregnant. She needs resources. She needs help. Why did she get pregnant by that guy in the first place?
Field says the bill could require non-custodial parents to help cover the costs of pregnancy, including prenatal care and items purchased for the child before birth.
We wanted there to be a mechanism to look back to that moment of conception moving forward to cover those costs and expenses, so that the father has an opportunity, because he certainly has the duty, to help cover that.
There you go, guys. I told you. TradCons Sound like feminists.
Bill passed out of the Senate Families and Children Committee unanimously Tuesday with bipartisan support. But there are abortion rights advocates who are against the bill. Tamara Weeder, the Kentucky State Director for Planned Parenthood Alliance Advocates, says bills like this that define an unborn child as a person could pave the way for pro-life legislators to create other restrictions around reproduction.
We've seen an overwhelming amount of personhood bills filed this year. And it is because it is a next step. We know that with personhood bills, it also creates harder avenues to types of birth control. And this is a next phase that we know of reproductive freedom opponents, that they want to come after IUDs, emergency contraceptions, and other forms of birth control.
There's also
I'm going to keep track of these personhood bills as they come up on my channel, guys. Because I'm all for, women being able to take care of this, of a pregnancy. I'm pro-choice. And then I'm all for birth control too, man. I'm all for it. Ladies, do whatever you can to prevent a pregnancy, because this is for the men and women watching my channel. The worst thing you can do in 2024 is have a child out of wedlock and have that child with the wrong person. Do what you can to prevent pregnancy. This is men and women.
Also an issue of cost. County attorneys would incur additional costs since federal funding wouldn't cover the enforcement of child support orders for unborn children. Westerfield says he believes the legislature should cover the extra expense.
I don't expect it to be a big figure. And if it turns out to be a big figure, I think it's incumbent on the legislature to cover that cost. It's worth that cost.
The bill is now moving to the full Senate for a vote. Noelle Friel, Wave News.
Good, thanks, Noelle.
I'm going to keep track of this story, guys, because this is ridiculous. Child support at conception. It's crazy. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you on the next one.